The sleek silver spacecraft descended. Through Earth's atmosphere its whole, gleaming in the morning sunlight. Inside, Ambassador Zarevex took a deep breath, adjusting her formal diplomatic robes. Today was important. After years of training and preparation, she had finally arrived at her first major assignment as the Galactic Consul to Earth. Zura gazed out the viewport at the approaching skyline of New York City. The human structures seemed quaint compared to the towering crystal spires of her home world, but they had a certain charm humans had only achieved faster than light travel 15 years ago, making them newcomers to the galactic community. Many species viewed them as primitive, but Zara had learned never to underestimate developing worlds. We will dock at the United Nations landing pad in 3 minutes, Ambassador, her pilot announced. Zora nodded, her iridescent blue skin reflecting soft light patterns across the cabin. She checked her appearance one final time in the reflective surface of the window. Her silvery eyes showed nervousness despite her best efforts to remain calm. Remember your training, she whispered to herself. Observe, engage, represent. A spacecraft touched down gently on the landing pad where a small group of human officials waited. Zara stepped out into Earth's air for the first time, immediately noticing the heavier gravity and richer oxygen content. Her species' adaptive biology quickly adjusted, but the planet still felt different from the simulation she had trained in. A tall human with short brown hair stepped forward from the welcoming committee. He wore a dark blue suit with a small pin representing Earth's new position in the Galactic Council. Ambassador Zarevex, welcome to Earth. I'm Ryan Collins from the Department of Interstellar Relations. I'll be your liaison during your assignment here. He extended his hand and the human greeting custom. Zara touched her palm to his as she had been instructed, noting the warmth of his skin. Thank you for the welcome, Mr. Collins. I look forward to strengthening relations between your world and the Galactic Council. Ryan smiled, revealing white teeth. Please call me Ryan. A bit less formal here than a council headquarters. The welcoming party moved inside to a large room where more humans waited. Zara recognized various political figures from her briefing materials. She followed diplomatic protocol perfectly, greeting each dignitary with appropriate gestures and phrases. Throughout it all, she noticed Ryan watching her with interest that seemed beyond professional curiosity. During the reception that followed, Zara stood near a window overlooking the city, taking a moment alone to process the overwhelming sensory input of so many humans in one room. Their emotions projected strongly, even with her telepathic dampeners activated. Overwhelming, isn't it? Ryan appeared beside her, offering a glass of water. I figured you might need a break first. Days are always tough. Zora accepted the drink gratefully. Is it that obvious? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Not at all, you're doing great. I just remember my first time visiting the Proxima Centauri embassy. Too many people, too many protocols. I hid in a storage closet for 10 minutes just to catch my breath. Zara laughed, surprised by his honesty. And now you're a diplomatic liaison. Life takes strange turns. Ryan gestured toward the city. What do you think of Earth? So far it's beautiful, she said. Honestly, different from what I expected. My briefings focus primarily on political structures and cultural tabos. They didn't mention how vibrant Everything feels here. Ryan's eyes lit up. If you think a formal reception is vibrant, wait until I show you a real slice of Earth. There's so much more than what's in the diplomatic briefings. I would like that, Zora replied, surprising herself with her eagerness. As the reception continued, Zara found herself repeatedly seeking out Ryan's company. His explanations about human customs were clearer than her briefing materials, and his genuine interest in her culture seemed sincere. When he asked questions about Iridian traditions, they were thoughtful and respectful. By the end of the day, as Zara settled into her new quarters at the Galactic Embassy, she realized she was looking forward to tomorrow's meetings, particularly the scheduled orientation with her human liaison. Something about Ryan Collins had caught her attention in a way she hadn't expected from her briefings about humans. Perhaps this assignment would be more interesting than she had anticipated. 3 weeks after her arrival on Earth, Zarevex found herself sitting across from Ryan Collins at a small restaurant in New York's Chinatown. The tiny space was crowded with locals, and delicious smells filled the air. This was their 5th cultural exchange meeting, as Ryan called them. You need to experience real Earth, not just the sanitized diplomatic version, Ryan had insisted. After their 3rd official meeting, Zara had agreed, curious about the everyday life of humans that her briefings had barely covered. What is this call again? Zara asked, carefully picking up a dumpling with the wooden sticks humans used for eating dim sum. Ryan replied, smiling, as she successfully navigated the chopsticks. Every Saturday, families gather to share these small dishes and talk about their week. It's tradition. Zara took a small bite, and her eyes widened. The flavors were unlike anything in the synthesized diplomatic meal she'd been eating. This is wonderful, she said, her voice full of genuine surprise. Ryan looked pleased. Earth might be behind in technology, but we've perfected the art of good food. After their meal, they walked through a crowded park where humans of all ages enjoyed the spring sunshine. Children ran and played while older people sat on benches watching them. Zara observed everything with fascination. Your species spends so much time outdoors, she noted. On Iridia, most of our cities are enclosed because of the harsh atmosphere. What do you miss most about home? Ryan asked. Zora thought for a moment. The night sky. We have 3 moons and 2 neighboring planets visible from my home city. The sky is never truly dark. The following week, Ryan took her to the planetarium, where they watched stars swirl above them. Then it was a baseball game. Zara struggled to understand the rules, but enjoyed the crowd's enthusiasm. Next came a small jazz club where the music made her skin glow slightly with each beat, much to Ryan's amazement. In return, Zora taught Ryan about her world. She showed him holographic images of Iridian architecture and played recordings of traditional songs that used tones humans couldn't hear but could feel as gentle vibrations. Our language has 12 tonal levels, she explained one evening as they sat in her office at the embassy. 4 of them are beyond human hearing range, but you communicate with similar patterns. Your speech without realizing it. Ryan listened intently, asking thoughtful questions that impressed Zora. Most species viewed humans as intellectually simple, but Ryan showed a depth of understanding that challenged this assumption. Emotions influence your vocal patterns in ways very similar to Our telepathic communications, she told him. You might not be telepathic, but you're more perceptive than most species. Realize, is that why the council was hesitant about bringing Earth into the galactic community? Ryan asked. They underestimated us. Zora paused, considering her diplomatic training versus the truth. Partially, your technological development was remarkably vast. Some species took thousands of years to achieve what humans did in centuries. It makes older civilizations nervous. And what do you think of us? Ryan asked, his eyes meeting hers. I think humans are fascinating, she answered. Honestly, you feel everything so intensely: joy, sorrow, curiosity. You experience life with a passion most species lose as they advance. She hesitated before adding, it's refreshing. As weeks turned into months, their cultural exchanges became the highlight of Zora's time on Earth. During official meetings, she maintained her perfect diplomatic composure, but with Ryan, she found herself relaxing, laughing more easily and sharing thoughts she would normally keep private. One evening, as they watched the sunset from the embassy's rooftop garden, Zara realized something that both thrilled and concerned her. The warm feeling she experienced in Ryan's company wasn't just professional interest or cultural curiosity. It was something more personal, something that, according to Galactic Council protocols, a consul should never feel toward a representative of a world under observation. Yet, as Ryan pointed out, constellations in the darkening sky, his hand occasionally brushing against hers, Zora couldn't deny that their relationship was changing into something neither of them had anticipated. The emergency alarm woke Zara from a deep sleep. She grabbed her communication device as it flashed with urgent messages. Earth Space Defense Systems had detected 3 Thraxian warships entering the solar system without authorization. Within an hour, Zira sat in the United Nations Emergency Council chamber. Human leaders spoke over each other, their fear evident in their raised voices. The Thraxian Confederacy was known throughout the galaxy for aggressive expansion and ruthless trade practices. Ambassador Zorov, what is the Galactic Council's position on this intrusion? Asked the UN Secretary General. Zora stood, her blue skin paler than usual under the harsh lights. Council maintains neutrality in trade disputes. I have been instructed to observe and report, but not intervene. Her words were met with angry murmurs. She spotted Ryan at the back of the room, disappointment clear on his face. The past 4 months of cultural exchanges and growing friendship made the Council's cold position feel wrong to her now. After the meeting, Ryan approached her. That's it, just watch. While they threaten us, the Thraxians claimed you violated trade agreements by selling advanced technology to the Novan system. Zara explained. That's not true, Ryan protested. We've maintained all restrictions on technology transfers. Zara lowered her voice. I believe you, but my hands are tied by Council protocols. The situation worsened over the next week. The Thraxian ships established orbit around Mars, demanding compensation and threatening military action. Human leaders proposed sending a diplomatic team to negotiate directly with the Thraxian commander. I'm going with the negotiation team, Ryan told Zara during a tense meeting in her office. That's too dangerous, she replied, unable to hide her concern. Fractions are unpredictable. especially their military leaders. Ryan's expression softened. You worried about me as Earth's lean, or for personal reasons? The question hung between them, acknowledging the unspoken feelings that had grown during their months together. Both, Zora admitted quietly, but I still can't help you. Officially, the human delegation departed the next day for Mars orbit. Zora monitored communications from the embassy, her anxiety growing as hours passed without updates. Then the emergency channel crackled to life with a distress signal. The Thraxian commander had taken the human delegation hostage, claiming they had brought hidden weapons. When Ryan's name appeared on the list of captives, Zora made a decision that would change her career forever. She contacted her personal ship. This violates every neutrality protocol, her pilot warned as they approached the Thraxian vessel. Note your objection in the log, Zora replied calmly, then activate our diplomatic override codes. Using her high-level access as a Galactic Consul, Zora boarded the Thraxian ship. She demanded to see their commander, invoking ancient laws that even the Thraxians respected. The humans brought no weapons, she declared, facing the massive armored Thraxian leader. Your sensors detected standard communication equipment which your scientists misinterpreted, the commander hissed through sharp teeth. You risk your position by interfering, Consul. I am ensuring galactic law is followed, Zora countered. Release them now or I will call for a full council investigation of your trade practices in the Epsilon sector. It was a dangerous bluff. Zora had no authority to make such a threat, but the Thraxians had much to hide. After tense negotiation, they released the human delegation. Ryan was injured, with a deep cut across his forehead and bruises on his face. Zora helped him to her ship, her hands trembling slightly as she treated his wounds. You came for me, he said softly as they left Thraxian space. You risked everything. I couldn't let them hurt you, she replied, medical scanner forgotten in her hand. As their eyes met, why, he asked, though his expression suggested he already knew the answer. Zora took a deep breath, knowing her next words would cross a line she could never uncross. Because what I feel for you goes beyond diplomatic relations or cultural exchange. I care for you, Ryan, more than council protocols allow. Ryan reached for her hand, his fingers intertwining with hers. I feel the same way. As her ship returned to Earth, Zara knew she had made a choice that would have consequences across the galaxy, yet looking at Ryan, she couldn't find it in herself to regret it. Ryan checked his watch for the third time in 5 minutes. He pulled his hat lower to hide his face as he waited in the small bookstore in Brooklyn. Few people shopped here, which made it perfect for their meeting. The bell above the door rang. A woman entered, wearing a long coat and sunglasses. Despite the mild weather, to most humans she looked like any other person, thanks to the advanced holographic disguise technology hidden in her necklace. Only Ryan could see the faint blue glow around her edges, a sign of the device working to hide Zora's true appearance. I wasn't followed, she said quietly as she reached him between the tall bookshelves. Ryan smiled, fighting the urge to take her hand in the public space. Let's go upstairs. My friend who owns this place left the apartment open for us. They climbed the narrow staircase to a small apartment above the shop. Once inside, with the door locked, Zura deactivated Her disguise, the hologram, faded away, revealing her natural blue skin and silvery eyes. "I hate hiding like this," she said, finally taking his hand. "Me too," Ryan agreed, "but after the Thraxian incident, the Council has been watching you closely." It had been 2 months since Zora broke protocol to rescue Ryan. Galactic Council had launched an investigation into her actions, but hadn't removed her from her position. Yet, meanwhile, Ryan's superiors at the State Department had become suspicious of his special relationship with the alien ambassador. "How was your week?" Ryan asked, leading her to the small kitchen where he had prepared dinner. "Endless meetings. The Council sent an observer to monitor my work," Zara replied. "They claim it's standard procedure after a diplomatic incident. But I know they suspect something." Ryan placed 2 plates on the table, one with human food, the other with carefully synthesized nutrients safe for Iridian consumption. "And here I thought dating on Earth was complicated." Zara laughed, the sound making her skin shimmer slightly with ripples of light. Ryan loved this natural reaction of her species to joy. It was something she usually suppressed at diplomatic functions. "Tell me about Iridian dating," Ryan said as they ate. "How do your people fall in love?" "Very differently," Zora explained. "Relationships are often arranged based on genetic compatibility and social standing. Emotions are considered secondary." "That sounds cold." "It is," she admitted. "My parents had an arranged union. They respect each other but never developed what humans call love. When I was selected for diplomatic training, they were satisfied with my career progress, but never asked if it made me happy." Ryan reached across the table to touch her cheek. "And does this make you happy?" "Us, happier than I've ever been," she whispered, "and more frightened too." After dinner they sat by the window overlooking the quiet street below. Ryan showed Zara how to play a card game, laughing as she tried to keep a poker face, difficult for an Iridian whose skin literally glowed with emotion. Later they lay side by side on the small couch, talking about their different worlds. Ryan described growing up in a small town in Ohio, while Zora explained the complex educational system that had identified her diplomatic potential when she was young. "If the Council finds out about us, what's the worst that could happen?" Ryan asked, running his fingers through her silvery hair. "They would recall me immediately. My career would end. I would never be allowed to return to Earth," Zara said softly. "Consoils must remain neutral observers. Emotional attachments to a species under observation are forbidden." "Is it worth the risk?" Ryan asked. Zora turned to look at him, her silver eyes reflecting the dim light. "I've studied thousands of cultures across the galaxy. Many have beautiful concepts of connection and belonging, but none of them prepared me for how it would feel to find someone who sees beyond my position and my species." She leaned closer, pressing her forehead against his in an Iridian gesture of intimacy. "Yes, Ryan, you are worth the risk." Neither of them noticed a woman on the street below, camera in hand. Alice Winters, freelance journalist, smiled as she reviewed the photos she had just taken through the apartment window. Photos that clearly showed the alien ambassador and her human companion in a moment of undeniable intimacy. Ryan's phone buzzed nonstop as he walked into the State Department building. Coworkers stared as he passed. Some looked away quickly while others whispered behind their hands. He checked his messages and felt his stomach drop. There were dozens of notifications, all linking to the same news article. Headline read, "Love Beyond the Stars. Galactic Consul's Secret Human Romance." Below it were clear photos of him and Zara in the apartment above the bookstore, though her holographic disguise had hidden her from people on the street. The camera had somehow captured her true form. By the time Ryan reached his office, his boss was waiting. With a grim expression, "Collins, we need to talk," she said, motioning him inside. "This article is everywhere. The secretary wants answers across the city." At the Galactic Embassy, Zara faced a similar situation. Her communication device displayed urgent messages from the Council. The largest came from the High Chancellor himself, demanding she report immediately. Zora activated the secure holographic link in her private chamber. The stern face of Chancellor Cravener appeared before her. "Consul Zaravex, explain these images," he demanded without greeting. Zara straightened her posture. "They appear to be photographs of myself and the human lean Ryan Collins. Do not play games, Consul," the Chancellor warned. "Your position requires absolute objectivity. These images suggest a personal relationship with a species under galactic observation. Chancellor IU will return to Council headquarters immediately for review. A replacement will arrive within 2 days." Zara felt a cold wave of panic. "With respect, Chancellor, I request time to complete my current diplomatic duties." "Denied. This breach of protocol is unprecedented. Prepare for departure." The connection ended abruptly. Zara stood frozen, her skin pale with distress. Years of training, her entire career, all ending because of photographs in a human news article. Her assistant entered cautiously. "Ambassador, there are human reporters gathered outside the embassy. They're requesting statements about your relationship with Mr. Collins." Meanwhile, the story spread faster than either of them could have imagined. Within hours, it had moved beyond traditional news outlets to social media. Hashtags like space romance and star-crossed lovers trended worldwide. People created memes and artwork depicting the couple. Video commentators debated the ethics and politics of human-alien relationships. By evening, Ryan had been placed on administrative leave. He sat alone in his apartment watching news coverage of their relationship when his doorbell rang. Expecting more reporters, he was surprised to find Zara standing there without her disguise. "You shouldn't be here," he said, quickly pulling her inside. "There are cameras everywhere. It doesn't matter anymore," she replied. "The Council has ordered me to return home. They're sending a replacement." Ryan felt like the floor had dropped beneath him. "When the transport arrives tomorrow morning." Her voice was steady, but her skin betrayed her emotions, darkening with sadness. "We knew this could happen," Ryan said softly, taking her hands in his. "I expected it, but not so soon." Zora looked up at him. "Ryan, I need to ask you something important. Will you come with me when I speak to the press?" Ryan blinked in surprise. "You want to talk to reporters? I spent my career observing, never participating. For once, I want to speak openly." Her eyes met his. "The Council has already decided my fate, but I can choose how I face it." Outside Ryan's building, more reporters had gathered after spotting the ambassador enter. Camera lights illuminated the street as rumors spread that the couple was inside. If we do this, there's no going back, Ryan warned, for either of us. Zara's hand tightened around his. I've studied thousands of worlds, do you know? What I've learned, the beings who matter most in history are not those who followed every rule, but those who knew which rules needed to change. Together, they opened the door to face the cameras. The flashes captured the moment that would soon spread across not just Earth but thousands of worlds throughout the galaxy. The video of Zara and Ryan's press conference spread across Earth within hours, standing side by side outside Ryan's apartment building. They answered questions honestly about their relationship. No one expected what happened next. The feed is being picked up by ships in orbit, a reporter shouted, checking her device. It's being transmitted to other worlds. Earth's communication networks had never generated such interest from the galactic community before. Usually, human broadcasts were considered primitive entertainment at best, but the image of a respected Iridian diplomat openly declaring her love for human captured attention across the stars. 3 days later, Zara stood before the Galactic Council. The Grand Chamber held representatives from over 400 species. She expected a private hearing, but instead found the galleries filled with observers from countless worlds. Consul Zarev, Chancellor Kravener's voice echoed through the chamber. You stand accused of violating neutrality protocols through emotional attachment to a being from a developing world under observation. How do you respond? Zora looked around the chamber, noting the unusual number of media drones hovering above. This was being broadcast live across the galaxy. I acknowledge my actions, she replied clearly, but I request the Council consider whether our protocols need revision. Murmurs spread through the chamber. No one had expected her to challenge the rules themselves. Explain yourself, Council, the Chancellor demanded. For millennia, the Council has maintained that emotional distance ensures fair observation of developing species. Zora said, I believed this too until my time on Earth. What I discovered there challenges our fundamental assumptions. She activated a holographic display showing clips of her time on Earth. Children playing in parks, musicians performing, families sharing meals. Humans experience life with an intensity that most advanced species have lost, she continued. They connect with each other deeply and personally. By remaining distant observers, we missed the very essence of what makes them unique. The chamber erupted in debate. Some council members shouted objections while others called for her to continue. Order. Chancellor Crayor demanded, silencing the room. Council, these philosophical observations do not excuse violation of protocols that have served us for thousands of years. With respect, Chancellor, protocol exists to serve purpose, not the reverse. Zara replied, if our rules prevent us from truly understanding new species, then our mission of peaceful integration fails. The hearing continued for hours. Recordings of Zora's defense spread rapidly through galactic networks. On thousands of worlds, beings watched as she challenged centuries of diplomatic tradition. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ryan faced his own hearing at the State Department. Unlike Zora's public trial, his took place behind closed doors, with security officials questioning his loyalty and judgment. Did you share classified information with the alien Diplomat, they asked repeatedly. Never. Ryan maintained. Our relationship was personal, not professional. When he emerged from the building that evening, he was surprised to find crowds of supporters waiting, signs reading love knows no borders and support. Interstellar romance filled the street. His phone buzzed with a message from an unfamiliar source. Opening it revealed a secure communication link and a simple message: the council requests your presence, transport arriving at these coordinates in 1 hour. Ryan stared at the screen in disbelief. No human had ever been invited to address the Galactic Council across the galaxy. Interest in the story continued to grow. Video clips of Zara defending their relationship became the most shared content in galactic history. Public opinion polls on hundreds of worlds showed increasing support for the couple. On the planet Nexus Prime, professor of comparative sociology started a petition supporting revision of council protocols on Trellin IV. Protesters gathered outside the council embassy carrying signs with Zora and Ryan's image. The desert dwellers of Karis began writing songs about the star-crossed lovers. What had begun as a scandal was rapidly becoming something much bigger, a movement that questioned the very foundations of how different species interacted. As Ryan boarded the transport to the council headquarters, he had no idea that he was about to become the first human voice in a debate that would reshape galactic society. Ryan stood at the entrance to the council chamber trying to calm his racing heart. No human had ever addressed the Galactic Council before. The massive doors carved from stone from 100 different worlds slowly opened. Before him, the chamber inside was enormous. Tiered seating held representatives of hundreds of species. Some looked almost human while others were so different Ryan could barely understand how they communicated. All eyes turned to watch him enter. Zara waited at the speaker's platform. She wore formal Iridian diplomatic robes, but had added a small earth pin to her collar. The sight of her gave Ryan courage as he walked forward. Council recognizes Ryan Collins of Earth, announced Chancellor Cravener, his deep voice echoing through the chamber. You may address us. Ryan took a deep breath and began to speak. Honored members of the Galactic Council, I come before you not as a diplomat or official representative, but as a human who believes in the power of connection. He spoke about Earth's history, how humans had overcome their own divisions. Over centuries, he described how understanding between different cultures had always seemed impossible until people began to form personal bonds. Your protocols assume that emotional distance creates objectivity, Ryan said. But on Earth, we've learned that true understanding comes from engagement, not observation. You can study a culture for 1,000 years and never understand it if you remain apart from it. The chamber remained silent as he continued. What Ambassador Xerox and I share isn't just a personal connection. It represents what can happen when different species truly try to understand each other. When he finished speaking, the council chamber erupted in discussion. Some members shouted objections while others voiced support. The debate continued for hours, broadcast live to thousands of worlds. Zara and Ryan waited together in a small room adjoining the chamber. Through the walls they could hear the muffled sounds of argument. No matter what they decide, Zara said quietly, you were magnificent in there. I was Terrified, Ryan admitted half those beings probably couldn't even understand what I was saying. They understood more than you think, Zara replied. Look, she showed him her communication device, displaying messages of support flooding in from across the galaxy. On planet after planet, public opinion had shifted dramatically in their favor. Videos of Ryan's speech were being shared widely, with translation programs making his words accessible to countless species. Commentary from respected philosophers and cultural experts supported their position that emotional connection strengthened rather than weakened diplomatic relations. After what felt like days, they were summoned back to the chamber. Chancellor Cravner looked tired but resolved as they entered. The council has reached a decision, he announced, after extensive debate and consideration of unprecedented public input. We have voted to revise our diplomatic protocols. Murmurs spread through the chamber as he continued. The policy of emotional non-engagement will be replaced with new guidelines, encouraging cultural integration and personal connection with appropriate safeguards. Relief washed over Zara's face, her skin brightening with joy. Ryan reached for her hand, not carrying Lauso. Furthermore, the Chancellor added, the Council has created a new diplomatic position. Ambassador Zaravox, you will no longer serve as consul to Earth, but instead will lead a new cultural integration initiative. Zar stepped forward. And what will this initiative do, Chancellor? It will study how different species can form meaningful connections while respecting cultural differences, he replied, and it will be headquartered on Earth with both you and Mr. Collins as co-directors. If you accept. Zora looked at Ryan, who nodded slightly, his eyes bright with emotion. We accept, she said firmly. As they left the chamber together, messages continued to pour in from across the galaxy. What had begun as a scandal had transformed into a revolution in how species viewed each other. Philosophers called it the beginning of a new era in galactic relations. That evening, as they stood on a balcony overlooking the glittering Council City, Ryan turned to Zara. So, what happens now? Zara smiled, her skin shimmering with happiness. Now we return to Earth and build something new together. 1 year after their story first broke across Earth's internet, Ryan stood in a garden overlooking the Pacific Ocean. He adjusted his formal suit, a blend of traditional human wedding attire and Iridian ceremonial elements. The fabric shimmered slightly, embedded with tiny lights that responded to his emotions. A wedding gift from Zara's home world. Around him, the most unusual gathering in Earth's history prepared for the ceremony. Diplomats from over 200 worlds mingled with human guests. Some wore environmental suits to breathe Earth's air, while others used translation devices to communicate with their neighbors. Nervous, asked Ryan's friend Steve, who would stand beside him during the ceremony. Terrified, Ryan admitted, with a smile, but in the best possible way. A soft tone sounded, signaling that it was time. Guests moved to take their places in the amphitheater overlooking the ocean. Above them, holographic projectors displayed the ceremony. 2 ships in orbit, which relayed the signal across the galaxy. According to early estimates, over 30,000 worlds would witness their marriage, making it the most watched event in galactic history. Ryan took his position at the center of the garden. The human officiant stood ready, holding both an Earth marriage certificate, and the Galactic Union. Document that would be recognized. Throughout Council space, music began to play, a composition combining Earth instruments with sounds from a dozen other worlds. The crowd fell silent as Zora appeared at the entrance to the garden. She wore a gown that seemed to flow like water, shifting between colors. As she moved, her blue skin glowed with happiness, visible even to those in the farthest seats. As she walked toward Ryan, small lights in the ground lit up, with each step marking her path with stars, a tradition from her home world. When she reached Ryan, he took her hands. In his, up close he could see the subtle patterns moving across her skin, expressing emotions too complex for words. They had spent months planning this ceremony, combining traditions from both their cultures and creating new ones. Today, we gather to witness not just the union of two beings, the efficient began, but a moment that represents a new chapter in galactic history. The ceremony blended Earth vows with Iridian promises. Ryan and Zara spoke in both English and the musical language of Iridia. Above them, a holographic display showed the stars of both their home systems merging into one constellation. In the tradition of Earth, Ryan said, placing a ring on Zora's finger, this circle represents our endless connection. In the tradition of Iridia, Zara replied, touching her forehead to his. In the intimate gesture of her people, our minds and spirits join as one. When they kissed, a cheer rose from the human guests, while the aliens responded in their own ways, some with lights, others with harmonious sounds, all celebrating the union. After the ceremony, representatives from the Galactic Council presented them with the charter for the new cultural exchange initiative. Its headquarters had been built near their wedding site with facilities to welcome visitors from across the galaxy. You have changed how we see connection between species, said the council representative. Already 17 other interessees unions have been registered with the council in the past year. As evening fell, Ryan and Zara found a quiet moment alone on a balcony overlooking the celebration. Ships from dozens of worlds lit up the night sky. Above them, their lights reflecting on the ocean below. Did you ever imagine this when you first arrived on Earth? Ryan asked, his arm around her waist. Zora leaned against him, her skin glowing softly in the darkness. Never. I was supposed to observe your world, not fall in love with it or with you. What happens next? Ryan asked. We've already made galactic history. Zora smiled, looking out at the gathered representatives of countless worlds celebrating together below them. Next, we build something that will last longer than either of us, a bridge between worlds. Above them, a message flashed across ships in orbit, translated into thousands of languages and broadcast across the galaxy. Today marks not an ending but a beginning. As stars appeared in the darkening sky, Zura pointed out her home star to Ryan while he showed her the constellations he had grown up watching. Two beings from different worlds now writing a new story together.